If you look at what YouTube was several years ago and what it is today, it's almost unrecognizable. Once upon a time, it was all about which gaming channel is bigger, who's fighting whom in the boxing ring, who's scamming their audience, or who cheated in Minecraft. Well, that world is gone. I feel like things started changing around 2020 when YouTube slowly stopped being about petty internet drama, and for whatever reason, it became deeply political. At the center of this shift were figures just like Charlie Kirk, who went from being some conservative influencer to one of the loudest voices shaping online debates. And this is regardless of how anyone felt about him, by the way. It's just an inescapable fact of reality. Now, this change didn't happen overnight. YouTube grew up alongside an increasingly divided world. What started as a quirky space where creators had fun and people had fun watching them slowly turned into a legitimate political battleground with real-life implications. Charlie Kirk is definitely not the only example. He just happens to be the one on everyone's minds right now, for obvious reasons. But you could actually see this shift in tone even in channels you wouldn't normally associate with politics at all. Creators who might have once stuck to pop culture suddenly found more engagement when they jumped into politics. Meanwhile, the old controversies of the gaming community or the beauty drama that you couldn't even escape not too long ago began to feel trivial. They didn't disappear completely, but they certainly lost their cultural weight. But why is that? Well, for one, because YouTube is a reflection of the world outside, and the world is and has been increasingly chaotic. Controversial elections, widespread protests, pandemics, and now large-scale assassinations. People aren't looking for distractions anymore. They're looking for authoritative voices, someone to make them feel heard and to validate their own views about the current state of the world. And so, the YouTube algorithm did what it always does. It rewarded the creators that people clicked on. And what people click on most nowadays is conflict. No longer the type of conflict that was once YouTube boxing or diss tracks or expose videos, but over fundamental issues that mattered to them in real life. Now, here's the problem. The more political YouTube became, the more polarized its audiences grew. And this polarization didn't stay online. It reflected and amplified what is happening in society. Suddenly, even basic concepts couldn't be agreed on anymore. Everything is now relative. And it's not just that people disagree, because disagreement is normal, is that we can't even agree on the terms of the debate. For one group, something is common sense. For the other, the exact same thing sounds outrageous. There is no middle ground. There's no shared definition of reality, it seems. On YouTube nowadays, it looks like every video, no matter how big or small, gets interpreted as a statement, and the algorithm pushes people deeper and deeper into their respective bubbles. So many friendships and families feel the strain of this, cracking under the pressure of this deep-rooted division. And I think that's why a lot of people feel exhausted with the internet at the moment. Because when everything becomes a debate and every topic is politicized, when even the concept of right and wrong are up for grabs, there's no more room left for agreement. Or even to just respect the other one's point of view, even if it doesn't coincide with your own. Remember, agree to disagree? It feels like that's a relic of the past. So, are we gonna find common ground again someday? It sure doesn't look like it, and I have to confess, I was not very familiar with who Charlie Kirk was until very recently. Over the past couple of weeks, like many other people, I've watched content featuring him, and what I saw was someone attempting to bridge that gap through conversation. And the fact that his passing has caused such varied reactions throughout the internet and the world at large is disheartening to say the least. Some things should never be up for debate. In my opinion, it's wrong to shoot somebody because you disagree with their political views. I feel like that should be obvious to everyone, and yet the world we live in has blurred even the most fundamental truths. And that is not just sad, it's profoundly dangerous. Aristotle once said something along the lines of, when we can no longer agree on what is good and what is evil, all that we are left with is chaos. And here we are thousands of years later, as we're about to find out exactly what Aristotle meant. Although, I certainly hope we don't.